Hey, everybody, welcome back to this episode of The Power of Group Coaching. Looking forward to talking with you and these really great people that I love talking to every 2 weeks. Randall Denha, Denha and Associates, estate attorney. Simon Thomas, CEO of DOBI Real Estate. Jeff Sloan, CEO of StartupNation, can't be with us today. But Rob Dubay, who is the author of Do Nothing, our guru of meditation, as well as, I'm not sure, is your title co-president or CEO? I can't remember, of Image One. And okay, anyway, welcome everybody. And looking forward to diving in today's topic about micro goals. You know, I think micro goals are so important. And I think in a time where, especially right now, things are starting to pick up, right? Many are saying that we are in a endemic. Mask mandates are dropping off. More people are getting vaccines. More people are feeling comfortable getting into the real world. And things are busier. And sometimes people can't figure out exactly everything that needs to be done in a day. And people, I'm finding, are starting to feel maybe a little bit overwhelmed. And so how do we take the typical goals that we are used to and making sure that we micro them to make sure that we build in consistency? You know, one of the things, you know, we all have our individual group, private coaching groups that we're doing. Randy and I are doing one for attorneys called Elevate. Simon and I are doing due diligence for all residential real estate agents all over the world. And Rob, you and I are doing one called mindfulness, meditation, and momentum, which is twice a week meditation. So we're trying to give everybody a little piece of something and a little bit of ideas on a weekly basis that really help them do that one extra thing. So today I really wanted to open up a discussion on the one extra thing, the micro goals that and how things, you know, how we see it working for the people that we work with and for ourselves. Rob, since you're new to the group, we will, you know, let you lead the discussion. And you know, somebody who I view as a mentor of mine when it comes to mindfulness, meditation. I signed up for your silent retreat. I ended up not going, but I still signed up, and that was, you know, part of the process. I meditate every day. How do, you know, maybe you can start off and talk about where do we need to infuse mindfulness to do that one extra thing and not resist resistance?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me is oftentimes to speed up, we need to slow down. And so if we can start with that as sort of a foundation, then we can get into what micro goals are most important that help us, that drive us to our big goals. And whether that's our micro goals on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly, quarterly, yearly, et cetera. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, John.
Yeah. How do you slow down, Rob?
Well, I have a daily practice twice a day for meditation, but where I really put it into, where I really use it is in my daily life, being mindful in my daily life and recognizing where I might feel a bit overwhelmed or maybe I'm just going too fast. And when we have the ability to recognize that and slow down, we start to find that we could be more creative and oftentimes make more thoughtful and stronger decisions.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, the key, I think, to jump in. Sorry, John. You usually
no, jump in. I don't need to direct. Jump.
Starting to get very comfortable with the team here. Right? So it's slowing down to really be aware, recognize, and get this tangible experience. Is so hard for so many people. It's always. The way I sort of chuckle, and I've been working out for 33 years. Every January 1st, the gym is as busy as it is all year. Then by January 30th, the gym is back to levels that were normal, right?
So I thought you were going to say January 3rd.
Go ahead. Well, so they're still eating all their holiday cookies, but the idea is people need to take, bite-sized approaches to what they want to do, but also recognize that these micro goals are very achievable, right? But, the key is to, start in motion and stay in motion.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people start and stop, start and stop. So Rob, to your point, I laugh because I know so many people that fall into that. And that was me years ago, until I decided, here's what I want to do in order to sustain what I want to get and to be where I want to be. And people just need to have that vision.
Yeah.
That's great.
Simon, I want to, I want to give you the floor, but I just want to say one thing that Randy does. I'm part of Randy's email list. So every morning at around 5 a.m., I'm part of I think a relatively large but selective mailing list, right? That of just a quote. It's just a quote of the day. And it's kind of a micro goal that I have put into my day. It's one of the first things I read in the morning. And it's great. And I love it. So as we talk about micro goals, they don't have to be big things. They can be small, little, tiny things that you do, whether it's like Randy sending it or somebody reading it. Simon, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, when I think about this, the first thing that comes to mind is, like, I remember being, right out of college. I was in debt. I had a bunch of credit card debt, like 5 or 6 credit cards that were maxed out. Nobody taught me about credit growing up, and I was in that situation in my young 20s for a couple years. And I had a mentor tell me, my first thing that first professional thing that I did, it was weighing on me so much. And I thought about it, and it was probably a good 2 years of thinking about it. And one day he said to me, Simon, how are you looking at this? And I explained to him, like, oh, I got this credit card that's X. I got this credit card that's X, and I just need to make money so I can pay. He's like, you're never going to get there. He's like, why don't you put your credit cards on a sheet of paper from the least amount that you owe to the biggest, and get the first one paid off, and then go to the second one, and small little wins. And the first one was only $700, right? So he's like, just get that done, and you'll feel like you accomplished something, right? And then go on to the next one at $1,500. And it was not a lot. It wasn't a lot of money, but to me, it's like $1 million back when I was 20 years old. And I started chipping away at these things, and all of a sudden, it was like 6 months gone by. And it's like, oh my God, I'm down to my last big one here, and I set micro goals for that big one. Like, all right, let's get $300 a month paid down for the next couple months. And all of a sudden, within 4 months, I had peace of mind, but within 18 months, it was gone, right? It wasn't hell for 18 months. It was like peace of mind within months. And then my arms were wrapped around it, and I was ready to go. And I look at, that was probably one of the greatest lessons to me. And I do that with everything I do now. I do it when I decide I want to start getting back into shape. And I do it when I decide, all right, we're going to start another business within our business, or we're going to, whatever. And then looking at each individual person when we coach and mentor on the realtor side, it's a really big deal. And, that's the number one thing that comes to mind. But what also comes to mind is keeping it simple is the number one thing. When I started paying attention, I started really becoming obsessed with studying really successful people, like ultra successful. Like, how do you get these guys who started in a garage, like Steve Jobs, and now they own Apple, like it's Apple, like Google, like Amazon. You think about it, like how do they do this in one lifetime? That's insane. Like, one lifetime, how do they accomplish all this? And when you really look at it, they did a couple things really well. That's it. Like they zeroed in, on 1 or 2 things, and they just did it the best, right? And they're not doing a million. It looks like there's a million things going on, but when it comes down to it, their business is about 1 or 2 things, and they just get really, really good at it. And it's kind of where you're at here. You don't have to do a lot to be successful. The problem is people think you have to. I tell it to our agents all the time. They think they have to be doing way more. It's exhausting. I'm burnt out. I'm this, I'm that. It's like, you don't. Bring it down. And 2 things, guys: know the market and go meet as many people as possible. Look at the top producers. Do what they're doing. They're out at events every day. They're at country clubs. Their kids are in schools. Like, that's it. Right. Yeah. And it's pretty simple, but we make it very, very complicated, and it doesn't have to be, but it takes time. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. It reminds me, Simon, when I got into the commercial real estate business, I was 30 years old. And when I started, I called the top 30 agents. They would promote the top 30 agents. So I would just call all of them and ask them for advice. And I would say, hey, can you give me one best practice that will help me grow my business? And so one of the guys I talked to, Mike Myers, said, yeah, go meet 100 when you're done with training in October, go meet 100 people in 100 days. I was like, oh, that seems pretty simple. That's basically, give or take, a person a day, right? And it seems so big when you think 100 people in 100 days, but when you really think about it, it's just a person a day. And so I did that through my whole 6 years of my commercial real estate world as an agent. I every quarter had a goal of these 100 people, 100 days. And it was fundamentally, when I ran a marathon years ago, I was like 25, I trained. And then when I started running, I ended up running next to this guy who said, hey, I studied Galloway. And if you run this marathon, if you run a mile, walk a minute, the whole marathon, it's really like you're just running a mile 26 times. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. I didn't train that way, but that's how I ran my marathon. And it was a complete game changer. It totally simplified the running.
So good.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I think we're all hard. We're hard as human beings. We're hardwired for satisfaction, and when we don't achieve that, we can either A, become dejected, or B, it's going to cause certain people, right, to step up and do more and maybe recalibrate or pivot, as we've said in the past.
Yeah.
And really try to figure out where we are. As a small business owner, we're doing that every day. I know each one of us are, and this is where I think there's a division or bifurcation between, the micro goals that we look for personally and then those professionally.
Yeah.
And sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. So, Simon, you talk about Steve Jobs and, the founders of Google and all these others. I'm sure, they probably channeled, these micro goals in really small bite-sized pieces. And like you said, just execution, they did it better than anybody else. And, all these people, I'm sure, have those goals both personally and professionally. But, when they don't achieve it, they just continued forward, as opposed to just, for example, eating a donut, right, and getting off the treadmill, or not walking anymore, just sitting on the couch and, thinking the woe is me attitude. And that's really self-defeating, and nobody will channel anything going forward on that.
Yeah, unless you eat the donut while on the treadmill. If you eat the donut while you're on the treadmill, then you're being mindful and at the same time. What were you saying, Simon?
I've done that. It doesn't add up.
Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. But it's not, where I think people fail is it's not sexy. It's not fun if doing the same thing over and over and over, right? And it's like, it's why a lot of people, you'll see their businesses really take off in the beginning, and then they start having success, and they think to keep it going, they got to do other things. And it's like, just keep doing what you're doing. But they think like, to get to $1 million a year, I need to be smarter. I need to be, more creative. I need to be on billboards. It's like, no, just keep doing what you're doing. But they get bored with that, and they can't maintain that forever. And they're just like, let's start another business. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's just the problem is it's not sexy, but whoever can do that the longest will end up winning. Once you find that niche and concentrate on those couple things, you'll win. At the end of 30 years, you'll look back and be like, oh my God, look at what I've created.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys think about discipline. A lot of times when I talk about micro goals with people, they come back to me and they just say, I'm just not disciplined enough to stick with it. What do you guys share with people when that's what you hear?
I'm going to go back to, what I share is you got to lower the bar and you got to lower your goal. Most people overshoot their goals. And so, I'll talk to someone, let's just say it's someone, they say, I'm going to do, 5, fill in the blank a day. Well, and I'll say to them, well, why don't you maybe start with 2? Mm-hmm. And then once you master 2, go to 3. Right. But start small, get the wins so you can build that muscle memory. So when you get, like Simon said, when you get bored, going from 2 to 3 is a new rush. I read a book a long time ago, and I cannot think of the name, but it talked about the how living on the plateau is really the place to live, right? You don't want to live on the highs. You don't want to live on the lows. You want to live, especially in business, in the plateau, because the plateau, Simon, like you were talking about, there's nothing sexy about the plateau, but it's consistently going to get you further than riding the highs and losing yourself in the lows.
Yeah, and Rob, you asked a great question, and it reminded me of something, Simon, John, and Jeff Sloan, who's not here today, spoke about, and that was the accountability buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I find, again, I keep going back to what I love is exercise, right? In the very beginning, in order to get started and I wake up early in the morning. By the time I send that email to John, I've already been up for an hour and a half. But that accountability buddy pulled me out of bed, put me at the gym, got me to develop a habit. Now, I don't know how long it took me to develop that habit, but I know it happened, right? It wasn't sexy. It wasn't fun, but I did it.
Yeah.
And, having somebody there to motivate you works for many. And sooner or later, you've taken off the tricycle wheels and you're riding that bike on your own. Mm-hmm. And then you do it to somebody else. Right. And it's just sort of that circle. But the key is discipline. The key is getting off your behind and doing it. And as Simon says, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be sexy. But when you look back, you've come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look at it and to piggyback off you, Randy, is, accountability buddy, but also you are who you surround yourself with, so like I'm the bottom of the totem pole with the guys I hang out with, like, and I like it that way. Right. And I've kind of always found a couple people that I've, and I'm not friends with them because they're successful. These are friends of mine, but I've just happened to work myself into groups that are very successful people in the world, relatively speaking. And that motivates me and it creates discipline, and mixed with loving what you do. Like, I've created a space here by doing little goals over the last 10 years, from selling dollar homes in Detroit to working out of a cubicle to now my own, 8,000, almost 9,000 square foot office that in my mind I created 10 years ago. Like, that motivates me. I walk in every day. We have the auto lights that turn on, and I'm a lot of times the first one here, lights come on. It's like, I get jacked up. It's what I created in my head, and it's starting to come to fruition. And it motivates me and gives me discipline. And I am a competitive person. And I don't know if everybody has that or not. I know naturally from a very young age, I'm not a malicious competitive. I really wish well on everybody. And I truly mean that. When somebody beats me, I'm truly happy for them. And I mean that. But to me, my discipline comes from a combination of just, being around the right people that motivate me to be better. And I want to leave a mark. Like, I don't want to leave here saying I don't want any regrets. And that's kind of like, I wish I would have started my own business. I wish I would have done this. And, at the end of the day, like, in my mind, what I believe is you live once and let's do it. So that's kind of where my discipline comes from. And it's gotten me to the start where we're at right now.
I love it. Only live once, done. That's like a mic drop. I'm going to drop this pen, which happens to be a 22 title pen, which is Simon's title company. Just a quick little plug. All right. So,
and to be honest with you, John, you called all the top commercial realtors and you asked that question, right? Call a bunch of 70, 80-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
And ask them that question. Hey, look at life. Like, what are the things? And a lot of them will tell you, I wish I would. At the end, that it didn't matter. I wish I would have done it, or whatever. And if you have those kind of, like, I remember hearing that as a young age from my grandparents and thinking, I'm sure we're gonna have things that I wish I would have done, but like, let's go balls to the wall and let's do it, because let's help a lot of people, because at the end of the day, I was 20 a year ago. It was 20 years ago. It was a year ago. So it's flying by.
Amen. I just turned 49. I mean, I feel like my son's 18. He's about to go to college. I think I just went to college a week ago. I don't even get it.
The days go slow and the years go fast.
They do, Randy. They do. So a couple things. I want to just highlight a couple things, because I'm hoping, Rob, we didn't talk about this, but I'm hoping you can walk us through a 1-minute meditation. Because one of the things, micro goals, as we look at the kind of the through line of what we're talking about, are peace of mind, simple, discipline, things, just things of that nature. And so I think with that, when you talk about it, and Rob, you teed us off with this, which is sometimes you got to slow down to speed up. And I think that I just interviewed at 12 o'clock today, a woman named Lorna Helps, and she's a coach that works with people, CEOs, to get them working and building their hybrid office models. And one of the first things she does with these CEOs is she takes them to a pottery class, because she needs them doing artistic work to get into a head and mindful space so she can actually do her work. And I find that when I do my keynotes, I do a 1-minute meditation so I can get people present at that space. And so before we kind of end today talking a little bit about what our groups and what they can do for people, Rob, maybe you and I are starting end of June 2021, every Monday and Friday from 11:30 to 11:50 Eastern, a meditation, mindfulness, and momentum. A little bit of meditation that you're going to walk us through. Again, you're the author of Do Nothing, meditation group, silent retreats, etc. And then we're going to be talking business planning. Start your week, end your week powerfully. But maybe you can kind of walk us through a meditation, for 60 seconds that will get everybody kind of in their discipline, right? In their space. Fellas, you in?
Sounds great.
All right.
The key here, much like Randy said, he works out every day, is that ongoing rep, And so what we're doing at this time is we're not trying to stop ourselves from thinking. And this is a really important piece. A lot of people think they're trying to find clear mind. Actually, it's the opposite. Our minds are wired to think. We just want to recognize our thoughts and allow them to be without judgment, kind of like clouds going by in the sky or the waves in the ocean or the lake. I always like to get everyone set up properly, because that's part of what we need to do as a proper discipline. So you have your feet firmly planted on the ground, and you have your hands resting gently on your legs. Your posture is upright, not too rigid, not too soft, and you bring your chin down slightly. You look ahead 2 to 4 feet, and you can have a fuzzy gaze or you can close your eyes. I'm going to choose to close my eyes. That's what I do. And then as we sit here, we now focus on our breath, breathing normally in and out our nostrils, following our breath's normal path, just focusing on your breath. Remembering as your thoughts arise, just allow them to be without judgment. We'll sit here for 60 seconds and do that. And now just bringing your attention back to your body, and you can begin to open your eyes and reorient yourself with your surroundings. And that's all there is.
That was wonderful. I've never done that midday, ever.
Not a bad thing
I've
to try.
never done it live on a Zoom call either.
Well, you guys should join my weekly call with Rob. No, I'm kidding.
Wow,
that was great. That was great, Rob. So peaceful. And you know what? It is so important. I mean, we all have a minute to do that. To your point, Randy, right? We're all running, And sometimes it just takes 60 seconds to, to kind of get recentered and back into alignment. Thanks, Rob. That was awesome. All right, fellas, in our last couple of minutes, I just want to highlight what our groups are. I'll talk about, I have a sales and business development group, coaching group. Jeff Sloan and I have our coaching group, which is called Business Builders for entrepreneurs 0 to 3 years. And Randy, you want to tell them about our Elevate group?
Yeah, so Elevate You, John and I are hosting. Elevate You is really geared for lawyers, both young and old, showcasing, the law business. And it is a business. It's not just something that you practice, but it's a business and something that, really needs your attention. I know many lawyers, and I see a lot of lawyers simply coming and going and stressing and complaining and not focused on their business. Our goal is to recalibrate your mindset so that your business takes care of you and you take care of your business. And we're going to show you, things about cost cutting, revenue modeling, forecasting, how to meet clients, how to network. What's your IT all about? Let's talk about employees. Let's get under the hood and figure out how to elevate you. And that's what the hope is.
I love it. Simon, you want to tell them about Due Diligence, the group that we're doing, private group that we're doing?
Due diligence is for realtors. So a lot of challenges in real estate, especially when it comes to the new realtor. How do you get the ball rolling? How do you get things going? Yeah, there's contracts. There's all these other things you need to learn, but none of that matters unless you start getting business. So how do you do that? What are the things you should be doing on a daily, weekly basis? How to manage your day? And everybody's different, right? So really kind of just telling you what worked for me. I have close to 80 agents here. I could tell you what works for a lot of them, and there's a lot of different ways to be successful in the business. So it's going to really be a place where all realtors can come and get a nugget every single week that could change their business.
I love it. And Rob, you want to tell them a little bit about ours, mindfulness, meditation, and momentum.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's meditation, mindfulness, and momentum. And you're going to learn how to meditate, what it means to meditate, and how to create a regular meditation practice. You'll learn how, with your meditation practice as a foundation, to become more mindful in your everyday life. And then the momentum part is learning how to stay focused on what matters to guarantee you are working on what you enjoy with people you love and being compensated appropriately.
Yeah. Amen. And then Business Builders, I'll just rehash one more time with Jeff Sloan and myself, is for that 0 to 3 year entrepreneur who's starting a business, who wants to make sure that they're doing the right things. Most new entrepreneurs go out of business very quickly because they don't have the proper mentorship guiding them what to do. Jeff and I are doing that one. And then I'm excited, guys. The more we connect, the more we talk about these groups, I can't wait. They can all be found right now. You can sign up at johndwoskin.com, go to the group coaching tab, and they are there to sign up. And we'll be doing some heavy promotion. All of us will be after Memorial Day. Guys, this was great. I just want to say thanks to all of you. I think the power of group coaching and the power of one-to-many learning is a very powerful thing. And I think this podcast showcases that. I learn a ton every time I talk to you guys, and that meditation was great. So that's my closing comment. Randy, any closing comment?
I'm just still laughing at the fact that, to Simon's comment, we did this live on Zoom. It was great. I really enjoyed meeting you, Rob, and it's always great to see you, Simon and John. Thank you.
Yeah. Simon, any thoughts?
Same. It's a lot of fun, Rob. Really great to meet you. And this adds a whole nother element that nobody ever talks about that I think is really cool to be teaching and mentoring on. So good luck with your session. But yeah, awesome podcast.
Yeah. And I just want to say one thing, because as Rob and I were talking about creating this group, it felt like we wanted to do something where we were implementing everything Rob talked about. But it's also a second group that people can join, because it does give them a different level of mindfulness. And to me, meditation, and this is for another talk, saved my life. I really believe that. And on so many levels. and I love business, and I love meditation, and I love doing things with other people who I look up to and are mentors in many, many ways to me. So group coaching, I love the fact that we're doing group coaching, and we, in a way, group coach each other on these calls. It's great. All right, Rob, I'll let you close it up. Any
just so grateful to be a part of this with you all, and I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you. It's really fun.
I'll end with this. We will update the graphic, Rob, and everybody who's listening, thanks so much. JohnDwoskin.com, group coaching. You can sign up now. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.